Welcome to my little space, where heart and hook stitch up a place where we can together make a refuge, safe for all our sake. What you are witnessing here is my 49th Nana in progress, and my dog Willie, of course. Okay, it has been smelling strongly of bone broth in my house for 2 days. As you can see, I still have it on the burner, and on top of the burner I have a diffuser so that it doesn't overboil and, spatter everywhere. It was initially very, very full. I've topped it off with extra water a couple times in the past 48 hours, so I've given it 2 full days. It's actually been like another hour past, so it's been like 49 hours boiling, simmering. And this is the carcasses of like 4 or 5 different chickens. So I boil this for a couple days, and then I will strain it and use this for soups and such. I just kept the carcasses in the freezer until I felt like making another pot. So I do this semi-regularly, and I'll store some of the broth in the freezer, and my kids will be having some soup tonight. Their favorite is when I put meatballs and some tomato paste. So it's like a meatball tomato soup, and I just use the frozen, already cooked meatballs from Costco. Okay, as you can imagine, the pets both love this smell. So what I've done is I used tongs to pull out the bulk of the bones. Hey, we gonna fight over this? I have treats for you. I pulled out the bulk of the bones and just put them in the trash, and I saved a few chunks of chicken here for them, because what I'm really after is all this broth. So now I'm going to strain it over this bowl. And here we have the gorgeous, gorgeous liquid gold. It's full of collagen. It's very, very hot right now. So I'm going to let it sit out for a bit before I put it in the fridge. I don't know what happened to my audio for this video clip. I'm thinking I may have accidentally muted it before saving it, and that's okay. So this is the bone broth after sitting 1 day in the fridge. As you can see, it's still pretty liquidy. After a couple days in the fridge, it does get a little bit more gelatinous. If I hadn't added more water to it as it boiled down, it would be very jello-y. So I'm showing you, I have some already cooked Italian sausages and some rotisserie chicken, and I'm going to finish the rest of those olives there. But I wanted to make myself a simple little single serving of soup, so I've got my garlic powder and granulated onion, salt and white pepper, and I'm just going to scoop some of this broth into the pot, season it up a little bit, get that on to heat, and then mix in the meats. Definitely lately my eyes have been too big for my stomach, and I filled this bowl up really full. It's a pretty big bowl already. As you can see, I finished the olives while I was heating that up. I've shredded some of this Kerrygold Dubliner, which is like a nice white cheddar type of cheese. And I initially topped my soup with it, and then of course it mixes right in. It melts right away, and that just adds a really nice flavor to the soup. Yeah, I couldn't finish it all. I was able to get all the meat out of it, but I didn't quite finish all the broth. Hi, I wanted to touch base on what I'm doing. So I sold 2 Flying Spaghetti Monster ornaments, and as you saw in my last video, I have 16 of these meatballs ready. So I'm going to turn these into ornaments. I'm currently working on another Nana. The one I have for tomorrow is already done, so this will be for next Wednesday, a whole week from tomorrow. I have 2 legs so far. And this one's going to be named after my uncle. And I also finally got the hobby yarn shipments. And it says right here, I'm not going to turn it around because it has my address there, $33.60. That's how much I had to pay because of Trump's tariff on, where's this from Denmark. $33.60 on like a $67 order of yarn. Okay. Okay, yeah, these skeins are about the size that I was thinking they would be. Pretty small. So there's 20 of this color. This is Friends Cotton 8/6. I honestly don't know what 8/6 means, but it is the size yarn that the pattern calls for, which is a 2 weight, which is fine. Yeah, that seems perfect. So there's that. I'm thinking this will be plenty. I don't normally buy brand new yarn in this size skein. It's so tiny. What is this? Looks like they sent me a candy as a gift. I don't even eat candy that small, that amount of sugar anymore, so I will give that to one of my kids. They will have to fight over it. Here's the other package. This is the darker green. Friends Cotton 8/6. The color is, does it have a name? I don't remember. I'll open it so we can see. First ever order from Hobby for me. Let's see. I thought they had color names. Maybe not printed here. Well, there's the color selection. So this will be the main shirt. It's going to look like 4 leaves as the front panels and the back panels, and the stitching, decorative stitching on top will be in this dark color. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and I will make sure I put the information about the pattern designer in the description box. So I'll be getting started on that at some point soon here, but since I've got the Nana started, I want to finish this Nana first because I've already got all those yarns out, and then I'll dive into this as well as finishing those ornaments. Yay! It came. Just know that when you order on Hobby, you have to pay Trump's tariff, and so you will be paying the cost of yarn plus another 50% of the cost of the yarn. When I announced to the kids that I have 1 candy, and if one of them wants it and the other one doesn't, that's fine. If they both like it, I can cut it in half, and they both followed me to the kitchen. This is your weekly reminder that I'm doing my Nanas Against Trump and Fascism project. This is my 49th Nana, Nana Erica, named after my sister-in-law. And you'll see later in the video, she accompanies me to a No Kings protest. I'm donating the net proceeds from the sales of these Nanas to the ACLU. Since I have the time this week to get a jump on next week's Nana, that's what I'm doing. I jumped right into making Nana Dan, named after my uncle. So this is Nana number 50, and I mean, gosh, soon I'm gonna have 52, a whole year's worth. All right, so I made a bit of progress since I last popped in. I finished this Nana. Now today is Wednesday. This one is for releasing next Wednesday. So I'm a whole week ahead now, which is awesome. I haven't even released today's new Nana yet, but I did just photograph that. I just showed you. That one was named after my sister-in-law, Erica. This one is going to be named after my uncle, Dan. As you can see, I embroidered a spiral around her head, Nana Dan. And believe it or not, she's my 50th Nana. So I will be photographing this actually tomorrow morning because I'm going to be going out and photographing the pink shrug and hood set tomorrow morning because it was drizzly still last night and this morning it was all cloudy. So tomorrow should be good sunlight and perfect. So next I will be finishing 2 of these ornaments that I mentioned. I have the yarns right here that I need for those. And then I also just sold another tongue-tied mouth puppet. So if you saw, I think maybe 2 videos ago, I showed making these panels to have on hand for making mouth puppets. And then right after having the panels for 2 puppets worth, I sold one and I finished that one. So now I get to finish this one. See, that's why I do that. And it seems the tongue ties ones are selling better than the ones with teeth and without the tongue ties right now. So I'm mostly making those, but I still like finishing them as I get the orders because it just makes sense. This person chose button color. They wanted these tortoise shell kind of color buttons. So I have those pulled out, ready to go. And yeah, I'm going to do this quick little bit of busy work. And then I'm going to dive into the leaf link top finally. So yeah, maybe I'll show you some time lapse of what I'm doing. Well, and just like that, I feel like that was just a matter of a few minutes. I've got these assembled. I just had to crochet these little eye stalk bits and cut the lengths of noodles that I wanted. They get knotted together and you can see that that knot is in the center right between the 2 meatballs. The eye stalks get attached to the meatballs. And now they are almost done. They just need their final noodle placement. So I thought I would do one on camera in real time. So I have a technique, I have a way I do this, and I explain all this in my pattern. I do sell my pattern for this. So I'll take 2 at a time, and I'll just start wrapping them around. I don't wrap them the same way every time, but I definitely go a few times around the middle for sure. Haven't put my needle on yet, so I'm going to put my needle on these 2 strands. And I started going up, wrapping up and around, and I'm going to just stitch in and out somewhere along this top corner edge of this meatball. And I will leave that dangling there. Now I will take 2 more strands, and instead of going up from the back, I will go down and to the front. So I'll take 2 strands again, put them on my needle, and I'll wrap down and around the edges and around the middle. as I go, I sometimes don't have as much I can wrap it because the bulk of it starts to get bigger, and then I draw it in and out on this bottom corner. So I've got 2 coming out the top corner here, 2 coming out the bottom corner, and I'm going to keep going around and do the other 2 corners. So now I'll do, so I went up, down, I'm going to go up and down again in terms of like how I start wrapping it. I want it to kind of look not super planned out and random, but in order to do that, I kind of have this repeated method that I do, but I don't always wrap them the same way. So I'll wrap it around the middle because I kind of want to fill that middle space in between the meatballs, so it has some girth to his body, his midsection. Don't want him to be a skinny flying spaghetti monster. So there, that's coming out there. And then I'll go down one more time with 2 strands again. Oops, I dropped my needle. Okay, so to start, I do 2 strands for each, coming out at each corner, ending up at each corner with some length hanging down to play with. So now this one's going to wrap down first, and I'll wrap it around this side there and around the middle. And this one I'm going to kind of snag into some of the yarns in the back here. And I'll loop it through a couple times. And then I'm going to bring it out the top corner. This is definitely not a tutorial, a proper tutorial. I'm not trying to make it be. I'm just showing my process. So now I've got 2 strands coming out of each of the 4 corners. And then there's still several strands down here. It looks like 6 strands. Oop. Okay, so now my mic is on. That's good. So now I'm going to wrap the opposite direction for each of these corners. So I'm going to start down. I'm going to take 1 strand each time though. So I grabbed 1 strand and I'm going to go down this time. And this time I'm going to do some wrapping, but also I'm going to intentionally loop it around, tangle it around through the different strands that are already there wrapped around. So it's not so clean and pretty. And I intentionally tangle it up. And then so you can see how I kind of tangled that up there along here. And then I'm going to poke it the opposite way where I left off with my first 2 strands there, like that, so that then, okay, this is the first 2 strands, this is the next one that I just did. Then I can just do a quick little square knot tying those together. So there, those ends are knotted together and they've just got some length there. So now I do the same process for each of the other corners. So I went down, so now I'll go up. So I'll take a strand, put it on my needle, and I'll go up and around. And sometimes I go to the outsides of the eye stalks, mostly on the insides though. Then I'm going to start looping it around and catching some yarns and tangling some stuff up and making a mess of it, and that's intentional. And then I'm going to go to this bottom corner and leave it there where I left these other 2 strands and tie these together. So as you can see, this part, well, none of the parts of this ornament take all that long. The ornament itself doesn't take that long to make, but when I'm making a huge batch of them, it can get tedious. Okay, so then I'm going to go down again with a single strand. and it's starting to get some character, and I make sure I want to do some tangling with the yarns along the back side too. Gotta, you know, gotta make it look like a mess from all angles a little bit. We're going to this bottom corner, and then these can get tied off. I figured this might be a little fun to show because this is one of my biggest sellers in my shop for sure. And then my last one, I'm going to take one more strand and go up. And we are nearing the end, people, of this one ornament. So I'm going to go up and I'll go around one time, and then I'm going to make some intentional tangles, catching the yarn, looping it around itself a few times. See? Making it look nice and messy here. And then I'm going to come up to this corner, in and out right here by these other two strands. And then these can get tied together. And almost done, you guys. That's almost it. Can you tell I've done this a lot? Okay, so now all the ends are secured. Well, they were all secured before, but I have two unpositioned noodles in the center. And what I do with those is I literally just wrap one up and down and the other one the opposite way, maybe 2 times. And then I just tie them together right at the bottom, right at the center base of the whole ornament. So there we go. And I already cut a couple strands here. And what this is for the hanging part of the ornament. So I fold it in half. I put the needle on the cut ends. And what I do is I poke the needle right through somewhere right in the middle where it's definitely catching. So it's not going to break through or anything like that. And I just do like a slip knot to attach it. Like that. And then I like to tie it so there's a good size loop there to hang your ornament with right here. Then I like these little extra ends, because to me it makes me think of like little noodle arms reaching up and holding on to the branch or wherever it's hanging. Except I'm going to trim those just a little tiny bit. They seemed a little bit long. There. So I do sell this in 2 different versions. The listing that's the most popular, and I'm thinking it's very likely that it's just because it's sold so many times, it's the listing that most people find, have it with the noodles all sort of trimmed up. So the whole thing is only like this length. And that is how I sold it. But I did end up making a listing in my shop for untrimmed noodles. So they are just dangling however they land. Sometimes, like right now, I'm looking at this and visually I can see like there's a whole chunk. It's like the same layer here, same length here. So I would probably, if I was selling this as an untrimmed, I would probably trim it like this. Maybe something like that to make it look a little bit more random. But this is a trimmed one. So now the final step is I'm going to trim all the noodles. And I don't want it like a straight line all the way across or anything like that. So I intentionally cut them at varying lengths, but just kind of neatly cleaning it up a bit. There. And there you have it. There's my original version of this ornament. So now I just have to do the same process for this guy. And I've got more meatballs sitting in the drawers over there, so I can finish more soon, or as people order them, for sure, I can just finish them up like that. So if somebody orders one of these, that's why I can ship so fast sometimes, is because it's a small item that I already have mostly made. And then if they order it, even though my shop says you're not going to get it for like 2 to 3 weeks or something like that, if I'm going to be going to the post office in the next 1 or 2 days, I'll just make sure I get it made up for you to include in that shipment, in that package, or in that batch of shipments. So there's that one. I'm going to finish this one, and then I will go over to the mouth puppet. Actually, first I need to go pick up my daughter from her play rehearsals. Oh, and as you can see, as I make stuff, I trim my scraps into nice, reasonable little lengths like that for making into my yarn scraps yarn. And I keep a little pile until I get sick of the pile next to me, and then I add it to my yarn scraps bag. And look how full this thing is. It's like about to be a pillow size. So I do need to get on to making some more yarn scraps yarn soon as well. I'll touch back a little bit later tonight. And just like that, I think I might not photograph this morning. I might want to wait till tomorrow to do my photo shoot, because look how foggy it is. We've got some ambiance going on this morning. Before we get into the bone broth again, I thought I'd show you this fancy salt my mom found. It's birch smoked salt from Iceland, and it's in these big flakes, which is really fun to put on a salad. So you get like these little pops of saltiness. Okay, this is my kids' absolute favorite way of having this bone broth that I make. I take, either I use canned tomato sauce or tomato paste. This time I used one 15-ounce can of tomato sauce, and then I actually just weighed in the same amount, 15 ounces also, of the bone broth. And in here I've got the garlic and onion powder, salt and pepper as usual, and dried basil leaf. I also put 1 drop of sucralose for a tiny bit of sweetness, for like a tomato soup, kind of a Campbell's tomato soup kind of soup is actually quite sweet. And then I use these Costco Kirkland brand frozen already cooked meatballs. They're already cooked, but they do need to be cooked again, heated again. So I put those in there and let it basically simmer until it's boiling, and then I know that the meatballs are heated through, and the kids love it. And then I mix in just a little bit of cream or milk, and I topped it this time with some Parmesan. All right, I've finally been going on this leafling top. This is a pattern by Cozy Fairy Craft. That's her handle. And it's Fairy, F-A-E-R-I-E. And I already followed her, and I saw when she posted that she was looking for pattern testers for this, and I submitted myself. I said, sure, I could do a pattern test. She didn't choose me. That's fine. But I've since had a customer come to me and ask for this. So here's actually a little thing I was thinking about. My customer bought the pattern for me to make it for her. Now, I'm thinking that's perfectly fine. That's not the same thing as buying a pattern to use yourself and then sharing with other people. She bought it, she shared it with me, but she bought it for me to make for her. So that's, that's fine. But now if I make a listing in my shop for more of these and I sell more of them, I kind of feel like I should buy the pattern again myself. I don't know. What do you think? What's the morality of that? Because the way I think of it is this is her purchase that she can have somebody else make it for her. She could ask multiple people to make it for her potentially, I suppose. In which case, if that were the case, if she asked multiple crocheters to make it for her, and then each of those crocheters now has the pattern and can make it multiple times to sell, I don't really think that's fair. So I feel like at least for this sale, it's fine. She's bought it. She's having me make it for her. But I feel like if I want to use it for my own use, either for myself or for other customers, I should buy it. I feel like that there should be another sale involved for the pattern designer. What do you think? Do you have thoughts about that? And let me know in the comments. So anyway, go show some love to Crochet Fairy Crafts, and I'll put her link in the description. But so this is the first panel. As you can see, it's a leaf that has shaping for the front here. So this will be basically 1/4 of the top right here. And as you can see, it'll come down to these points, and it will have 4 leaves going around. The 2 in the back will obviously not have the shaping. They'll just be flat leaves. And then it's going to have some pretty, oh, there goes my hook, some pretty ties. It's going to have 2 spots where it ties here. The rest will be seamed together, and then it will tie for the straps on top here. So that's the first panel. I've gotten a start now at this second panel. So this will be for the other side. And I'm excited to see how this goes. So this is quite nice for me, following a new pattern. I'm not really going to have to worry too much about sizing, I think, because my customer asked for a medium, and I'm a pretty good medium to test it on myself. So it is a made to measure pattern. So as you go, you base how many rows, how many stitches you do on your own measurements, which is kind of hard to do if you're making it for somebody else who's not with you. You kind of have to get them to measure themselves and let you know, that kind of thing. So at least I can just make this to fit me. And then hopefully, it's perfect for me to photograph for my own records and maybe trying to sell again. And hopefully it's perfect for her too. And then also, so I'm going to keep working on that right now. But I also wanted to jump in and say, now I know that this video isn't going to go live until Tuesday after this weekend, but this weekend, the day after tomorrow, is the second No Kings protest. And I'm going to be going again, but I'm going to be going in a different town. I'll be in Visalia. So if I happen to have any people watching who are in Visalia, California, maybe I'll see you there. And I have my sign ready. It's my 2-sided sign. The horrors persist, but so do I. See my beautiful blood work there. And then I stitched on another Nana. So this is one of my most recent Nanas. This is the one I just released, actually, Nana Erica, named after my sister-in-law. Nana's against Trump and fascism. So I feel like it's eye-catching because it's different. At least it's quite different. So there, and I just ran some cotton thread doubled up through the body of the doll and through these holes in the back and tied it on, like triple knotted. It held up great last time, so I'm sure it will this time too. So if you see me there, say hi. I'm thinking chances are nobody that watches this is going to be there, but so go to your own local protest, please. You know, we need the bodies out there, the visibility of who's standing against Trump and all the hatred and all of the tearing down of our society as we know it. Okay, well, that's kind of all I had to say on that. I'm going to get going on this leaf and I'll show you some crocheting. I am super excited to introduce another track by Olympia Trout Patrol, the person behind that being Michael Edminster, who did some sampling of both the vocals and the piano part from when I recorded a performance back in college of me singing Rejoice Greatly, O Daughter of Zion from Handel's Messiah. So he called this Disco Reverie, thinking it might be sort of like a theme for my channel, which I love. It's super happy sounding and I hope you like it. I'm going to play it in its entirety over the course of modeling a pink shrug and hood set, as well as packaging some items up to take to the post office. Once again, this shrug and hood are both patterns by Starlily Creations. Thank you for listening to my new track from Michael. I'm very stoked to be able to add that to my repertoire for my videos and my short form, like shorts and reels and stuff. And now you're hearing the track, the recording that he used samples from. So I wonder, can you tell that he sampled from this recording? I shared this little clip as a reel on all my social media, and as of right now, it's already got 12.1 thousand views on Instagram, which for my view counts usually is pretty viral. Just for fun, I want to look at some troll comments, but first here's a positive one. And then I got, y'all just keep your thoughts to yourself. Trump is a great president. Stop hating on everyone and everything. And then of course we've got the obligatory ew. By the way, I'm not wanting to send any hate to these people. That's why I'm blocking out their identities, even though it's visible on my pages. And then on YouTube, I got, in the famous words of Forrest Gump, stupid is as stupid does. And I just want to point out that at this point in my growing of my YouTube channel, I fully welcome the troll comments because you know what? You're helping me. You're helping the algorithm. So I will always heart your comment for the time being, and I will respond thanking you for watching. As you saw, I just went to the No Kings protest, and I was really happy to lend my body to the group of people out there protesting in Visalia. And I thought I'd show you where I'm at with this top, this leafling top. So this is one front panel. This is one half of it. So it basically goes like that. And it's going to seam here on the side to a back panel. And it will have these ties right in the front. So I think it's a perfect fit. And now I have the edge to do on this second panel. This will go on the other side. And as you can see, I've never bought stitch markers. I'm using yarn scraps as my stitch markers. That's where the ties will go. And then the one longer tie at the top for going over the shoulder. So I thought I would do a time lapse of that while I get that underway. And this is that darker green yarn. I quite like this cotton from Hobby. My only issue with it, if it bothers you when you're dealing with a yarn that splits easily, this definitely splits easily. All these little plies come apart really easily. Anyway, so I'm gonna get going on that, and I'll check back in a little bit. I still need to make the back panels. I just felt like getting to this. I think I'm also gonna do the decoration of the lines on the leaves and just get these front panels completely done before I have to figure out the stitch counts for the back panels. So, all right. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and sign out. You'll have to wait until next Tuesday to see the completion of this top. Actually, you won't have to wait because I will be releasing my reel and my short for this top in the coming days. But I'm going to keep to my editing and posting schedule and get this video ready to post on Tuesday. So, crochet hooks and colors bright, crafting wonders day and night. Join the fun, come see it through. Subscribe and I'll create for you.